making a video about movies that I felt were underseen or underappreciated in 2018. I also wanted to do one that I felt got either too much attention or ones that I felt were not as good as most people seem to believe they were. Starting off my list at number 5 is You Were Never Really Here. An indie darling of 2018, You Were Never Really Here was never really that good in my opinion. A major problem I had with this vigilante thriller was that it comes up incredibly short in terms of insight into its main character, a PTSD stricken veteran searching for a trafficked teenage girl. While it shares many similarities with the 1970s masterpiece Taxi Driver, it's not anywhere close to being as mold breaking as that movie was. Joaquin Phoenix and Ekaterina Samsonov are good enough in the movie, but they don't have a fraction of the magnetism of Robert De Niro and Jodie Foster. While it has a few good moments, most notably its final scene at a table in a diner, I just couldn't understand all the hype around this movie, mainly due to how short-changed I felt by its limited psychological insight. Number 4 is Vice. With Vice, Adam McCoy brings the same unconventional style to former Vice President Dick Cheney that 2015's The Big Short brought to the 2008 financial crisis, however, with less effectiveness and more of a mixed bag of results. While it does shed light on some aspects of Cheney's political career and personal life, Vice is erratic in its pacing and presentation. Long patches of the movie drag on more than others, and the movie never helped me make up my mind what I should think about Cheney when it was over. While I do recommend this movie, it's on this list because I don't really think it deserves 8 Oscar nominations, including Best Director and Best Picture. Christian Bale will probably win Best Actor come Sunday night, and I understand why, but it's not one of his best performances of his career. Although it's a scattershot movie that proves as messy as many of the real-life policies Cheney was responsible for, it's not the worst Best Picture nominee of 2019. Number 3, I picked Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the worst Best Picture nominee of 2019. This by-the-numbers, lazily scripted, lifeless, sanitized, an underwhelming biopic about the founding of 70s and 80s rock band Queen and its one-of-a-kind frontman Freddie Mercury. There was never any doubt that a Freddie Mercury biopic would be popular. I don't know a single person who doesn't like Queen. But the fact that this movie is put on the same pedestal as a movie like Roma just shows you how meritless this year's Best Picture lineup really is. Rami Malek is by far the best thing about Bohemian Rhapsody. He does a spot-on job capturing Mercury's larger-than-life personality. It's just too bad his performance isn't featured in a better movie. At every turn, Bohemian Rhapsody is a letdown. The movie never tries anything fresh or new in terms of music biopics. Both Freddie's romantic and parental relationships are shamefully underdeveloped, and a majority of the movie's plot is comprised of repetitive concert scenes and studio recordings. There are at least 3 scenes in this movie where the band writes a song on the spot, records it, and it becomes a hit. Maybe it really happened that way, I don't know, but this is why you have to take certain creative liberties when adapting a true story for screen. The Live Aid concert, which is supposed to be the movie's finale, has about as much energy as an episode of Lip Sync Battle, and the movie depicts Freddie Mercury's rock star lifestyle in such a generic way, it makes him look like Russell Brand from Get Him to the Greek. The movie is just so small, never proving to us how big and influential Queen's music really was. It's not the worst Best Picture nominee ever, it's not even the worst nominee within the last 10 years, but it's really undeserving of getting this top spot. With the exception of Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody was the highest grossing of the nominees this year, so my guess is that the Academy nominated it solely to try to get more people to watch the ceremony, which is just another example of the motion picture industry's total lack of integrity and standards. Number 2 is Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians is the result of Hollywood's inability to recognize the importance of on-screen diversity in a timely manner. It's taken the film industry so long to release prominent films with non-white leads that when studios finally do catch up with the times, that film gets put up on a pedestal regardless of its quality. It's a shame this movie was as popular as it was this past year because Crazy Rich Asians is kind of bad. Sure, it might be a solution to lack of diversity in movies, but that doesn't make this overlong and thoroughly forgettable romantic comedy any less vapid. Almost nothing happens for a majority of its runtime, and the whole thing eventually buckles under too many characters and not enough conflict or compelling plot points. adding up to not much more than a less terrible version of Monster-in-Law, Crazy Rich Asians will likely be best remembered for cultural significance, but little else. The leads aren't interesting, the humor is mostly lame, and if the movie had starred white actors, it would have been immediately discarded as just another disposable chick flick minus all the undeserved hoopla that it got. Crazy Rich Asians is inessential viewing. Then again, what do you expect from the guy behind not one, but two Justin Bieber documentaries? And my number one pick for the most overrated film of 2018 was a movie I got so tired of hearing about, and it is Bird Box. I have not had so many people recommend me a bad movie since some guys I went to high school with got me to watch The Boondock Saints. When Bird Box was over, I felt as though I had sat through a truncated first season of the most forgettable TV series of my life. It's acted like a TV show, it's shot like a TV show, and even the special effects and violence feel oddly restricted for television. The plot is really boring, feeling like a watered-down combination of A Quiet Place, Children of Men, and the hilariously bad M. Night Shyamalan flick The Happening. There are major character deaths that didn't matter to me because I cared so little about them and this movie, and boy are some of these characters stupid. John Malkovich plays the group leader who lets everyone walk all over him and do whatever the hell they want, to the point you have to ask yourself, why does he even bother carrying a gun at all? As dull as this movie is, that didn't stop it from gaining an audience, garnering endless viewings, online debates, discussions, interpretations, reviews, articles, memes, and even a stupidly dangerous internet challenge. It all feels like a bit too much for something that's just mediocre at best. Thank you so much for watching. Also, check out my top 5 underrated films of 2018. As usual, I'm Logan D. McCoy, and this is Real McCoy Reviews.